What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Palm City Chucks. We got more college football for you. Week one just wrapped up. We're going to talk about that, and then later on, we're going to talk about week two. If you recall from last episode, we are concerned with the top 25. There may be some other rivalry games we'll discuss and odds and ends that way, but let's get into it. Let's recap week one of college football. We kind of mentioned this in last week's episode because we got out to a late start, but I do want to bring it up again. We had a major upset. I believe it was Thursday night. 25 Boise State lost to South Florida 7-34. Wild stuff. We both got that wrong. We, as we get into it here too, we both got quite a few wrong for a lot of layup games. There were a few toss ups, but yeah, we didn't do too hot.
It's not terrible. I mean, 18-4. It's not awful.
I know, but they're lay-ins, finger
But
roll.
the ones that we got wrong were not so much layups
Yeah,
per se. But we'll get
that's
into it.
true.
But 18-4 is not bad, not bad. But yeah, I mean, Boise State. I'm concerned for my college football playoff prediction
Yeah,
there.
I think it's
I'm
already cooked. We're both
yeah.
cooked.
I think they would need to win out to then take that spot. I don't know that I see that based on how they played in this first game. I mean, they scored first, and after that, USF just dominated the game.
Yeah,
Absolutely dominated. Boise State never stood a chance. So I'm
yeah,
I'm definitely concerned about Boise State here. They could
and it's
have a
yeah, it's
big drop
also
off.
yeah, for sure. And it's also like bittersweet in the way they lost. Like they did the classic beat themselves, turnovers, just sloppy play in key moments. And it's bittersweet because it's things you definitely don't want to see, but it's also things that can be corrected. And then you can, actually generate some momentum and stay in games and potentially win them. But yeah, I'm not confident in our playoff bracket.
I agree there. Let's move on to the next game. Western Illinois taking on number 12 Illinois, and this was as we expected, a total blowout, finishing with a final score of 52-3 in favor of Illinois. I mean, there's not much to say here. Illinois was the much better team as expected. Western Illinois was completely outmatched. Props to them for putting any points on the board, honestly.
Yeah, for real. I'm right with you. And there's plenty of games this week that are that way. Just happy they got on the board. But yeah, enough said in that matchup.
Yeah. Moving on to one we can have a bit more of a discussion about here. The marquee matchup of the week. Number 1 Texas against number 3 Ohio State in the shoe. This is one of the picks that Chris and I both got wrong. We had the exact same pick spread last week, actually.
Yeah.
So this was one we both got wrong. And I mean, this was a boring game. And with the outcome,
So
I
bad.
wanted to puke the first major game into the college football season watching Ohio State win
Yeah.
this game. It was awful. Arch Manning did not look good at
Mhm.
all. I also would like to call out Steve Sarkisian sucks. What was he doing? On the drive where they were stopped at like the half-yard line on 4th down, you
Brutal.
run the ball the entire drive, you're moving, no problem, you get first and goal, and Arch runs the ball 3 times to get you to the 1, and then you try to pound it. What are we doing? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? I mean, Sark, what are you
Oh,
doing,
it was
kid?
so bad. It was
Like,
so
you
bad.
deserve
But
to be
Jackson,
called kid here.
yeah. Yeah, that was so bad, dude. The running back got him down the field. Arch did not with his arm, and they try and get him involved with his legs. You try it once, okay? That's fine. The guy can move a little bit. Like I see it. But then to do it again, and then you give it to the running back, and now you're a yard away, and then you're sneaking with them, and it just got stuffed. But yeah, that was a major turning point in the game. That was their first time actually moving the ball, and I thought they were gonna get shut out. Like just as we were
Yeah.
watching the thing, like I really did. They couldn't do anything. I honestly believe Ohio State's defense even softened up. Probably a little too early because it kind of got like, oh, Texas has a chance at the end. But yeah, It was a terrible game. You said it. Very boring. Afterwards, just looking at box scores of other games, I'm like, shit, I should have watched Tennessee play Syracuse.
Yeah. I mean, the good news for Arch is he did throw some dots. There's one throw I particularly
Yeah,
remember on the sideline that was amazing throw. So he could definitely bounce back here. This is a really
he
tough
did.
opening game for his first year as a starter. So I'm not completely out on him yet, but I do think he has a lot to prove now. More than he did coming
100%.
into this game. He's got to prove
Yeah.
way, way more. He's got to get Wingo more involved. That's also on Sark. They got to get Wingo more involved for sure.
Hmm.
Switching over to the Ohio State side, it was very clear that Texas did not want to throw in the direction of Caleb Downs. There was no shot they were going to his side of the field, like ever.
Hmm.
I'd be surprised if that man gets targeted more than 20 times the entire year. Teams clearly fear him, as they should. Julian Sayin, his first game as starter here for Ohio State, I thought he did a good job. He played a game manager role. He didn't make any mistakes. I don't think that he did anything flashy or great by any means, but he also wasn't a reason for concern in this first game. So I think that's a positive. We'll see where he grows as he takes on, lesser teams. Can he maybe showcase what he's got? And then when he plays some tougher teams down the road, can he carry that over? We'll find out. We'll find out. But overall, I really wasn't impressed by either of these teams in this first
Yeah.
game.
I will say Ohio State's defense, which they always say the defense is ahead of offense in the early season. And yeah, I mean, I'd agree. But yeah, you mentioned Caleb Downs. The entire secondary for Ohio State was amazing, which also brings me to another good point you made. Arch had some moments throwing dots, but he had to throw dots on pretty much everything. But his short game was rough, man. He had some open
Mm-hmm.
crossers like 5 yards down the field. He's like hitting them in the ankle. Like, what are we doing? But yeah, his deep ball looked good. Some questionable reads, like even the play you mentioned along the sideline, that was right where it needed to be. That was tight coverage. The guy actually got killed, but held on
Yep.
to it. On that same play, right down the seam, like the middle of the field, there's a guy wide open and he chooses to throw it there, and it was a perfect throw and it's still a great play. But yeah, he definitely has some growing to do. I learned personally, because if you recall, the reason I ended up siding with Texas was the little bit of experience Arch had. And I learned as a whole this week of college football, experience is very important, but it has to be true experience.
Yes.
Because we'll get to these other games, but like Nussmeier, Beck, like all these guys that played looked really good in week one. But yeah, Arch's experience last year, I don't think it really helped him much at all. It wasn't a true taste of what he has to face and overcome.
No, I agree. And to your point on the short throws, I don't know if you picked up on this at all, but he was throwing a lot of sidearm action. He was trying to pull a little Matt Stafford there. He's really
Okay.
a very
Yeah,
low arm angle for some reason a lot of the
yeah, I didn't
time. I'm not sure
notice.
why that is, but that's definitely a mechanical adjustment he has to make. He's got to come over the top
Yeah,
way more often. I think that led to some of his accuracy issues. So I'm not sure what was going on there.
yeah.
Definitely not trying to make excuses for him. He played not well, but I thought it was odd seeing how often he came in through sidearm.
For sure, especially given his size too. Like it's not like he's trying to get it like by a D lineman. Like you can go over the top, buddy. Like
Yeah.
you're a big kid.
Yep. I agree. I agree. But yeah, Ohio State wins 14-7. I mean, God fucking damn it. But it's
Hey,
fine.
we went down together. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, November 1st. That's the game I care about, baby. So can't get here soon enough. But let's move on to another ranked matchup, another big game, another one we both got wrong. Number 9 LSU taking on number 4 Clemson at Clemson. LSU comes out on top here, 17-10. I'll let you take the first stab at it, Mr. LSU.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm itching. I was like, come on, throw it back. Yeah, I'm excited, dude. They looked really good. The defense has been garbage the last few years. An SEC team that, takes pride in its defense, that has never been an issue. And the last few years, just complete dog shit. That turned around big time. The announcers were saying, take it with a grain of salt. I feel like they just say shit. But they were saying their D coordinator didn't have the talent to run what he wanted to run last year. And I kind of do believe that because it was pretty vanilla. It wasn't anything special. They were getting after it Saturday night, man. They were blitzing the hell out of them. And yeah, it was so fun to see. And on the offensive side of the ball, really crafty too. Like I'm really a big fan of these coordinators. Get Brian Kelly as little involvement as possible. I love it. A lot of crafty plays. It gave me Ben Johnson vibes, honestly. Like they were doing some weird
Oh my.
kinky shit, dude, and it was fun. But yeah, LSU looked great. 17-10 doesn't even truly reflect this game. There in fact was a touchdown that was a touchdown. We don't need to argue about it. I don't know how you're on the other side of this. Comment section, please hammer this kid. But yeah, this game was not a 17-10 game, and Clemson is a damn good football team, and they were home. So I'm juiced up, baby. I'm gonna go all homer the rest of the year. LSU, baby.
See, the problem is they're doing the reverse of previous years for you. You know, last year
They
you lose the
might
first
be, dude.
game. They level set with you what they're going to be. Now you're going to feel all gassed up and excited,
They look
only to be tore
awesome.
down later. So
Yeah. No,
we'll
I,
see
I
how it goes.
I wouldn't be shocked with a teardown, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm still honestly riding high from it.
It's
Um,
a it's a
yeah, it
big
was a
win
great
for your
win.
college football playoff chances, regardless of like if you take a loss or two later, beating Clemson, a team that's in the ACC that's almost inevitably going to be in the college football playoff this year.
Yeah,
So it's going to be a good win on your resume come college football playoff time.
yeah, no
I'll
doubt.
say that. So you've afforded yourself the ability to take one or two other losses, I think is how
Yeah.
I'll put it.
Yeah, I'd agree, but as we know, conference play is very important. Because I mean, if you take two losses in the conference, you could end up being the third team in the conference, and then it's like, are you getting in the playoffs? It's iffy. So yeah, but you're right. There is definitely value in that win, just given how good Clemson is and how good they're going to be. Like you said, working in the ACC, I mean, they could win out from here. This was a tough game for them, but I mean, they're going to be really good. They're going to right the ship. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, let's move on to another quickie here. We got Marshall traveling to take on number 5 Georgia, and that was about as we expected.
Mhm.
45-7. I was impressed by Gunnar Stockton. That's the one main takeaway for me that game. I know it's Marshall, but he looked pretty settled, comfortable running the ball. Had a couple big runs, touchdown runs, as a matter of fact. So I thought that was impressive from him. We'll see how he looks when he gets to some more serious competition.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Nothing to really add there. That was kind of what we expected.
Yeah. Now let's talk about my boys. Nevada traveled to Happy Valley to take on number 2 Penn State, and that game ended up 46-11 in favor of Penn State. Obviously, it could have been much worse. Essentially, the full fourth quarter was our second stringers playing in there. That's when they scored their first touchdown of the game. Was towards the end of the game. And I just want to say, I know my boys. I'm in a spreads pick'em league for college with my girlfriend's brother and a bunch of her friends, and I regret giving out this information because it caused the brother to change a pick that he ended up getting correct. But the spread was like 44.5, 45.5, and I was like, nah, Penn State's going to win this, but Nevada's going to cover because Penn State's going to dominate so heavily that they ease up and throw in the second string sometime late in the fourth quarter, and they'll win by somewhere between 35 and 42 points. Well, I'll be fucking damned. That is exactly how that game played out. It finished exactly in that range of 35 points. But really no cause for concern for me at all in this game. I thought everybody looked good. Nick Singleton did not have to touch the ball a lot. Gosh, Katron Allen, I was blanking on his name. I'm so sorry, dude, for a moment. So
Yeah.
sorry, my guy. They had to touch the ball less than 10 times each, so love that they didn't have to take a lot of hits in this game. Drew looked good. The defense looked good. Danny Dennis Sutton forcing 2 fumbles. I mean, dominant performance. It is Nevada. I get it. We need to do it against better competition. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But good start to the year for Penn State in what
Yeah.
many believe is James Franklin's most talented roster that he's had ever. So
Yeah.
we'll see where he can take that. Big game James, though. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it's tough to argue. A lot of talent on that team. I will say kudos to them. Like we've been saying, kind of preseason games for these teams. A lot of them these early weeks before you get in the conference play. Treat it like it. I think that's really smart of Penn State. Get the confidence, get their feet wet, and then get them the hell out. Like as we go on, we'll see more of these preseason games, and they're leaving the guys in the whole time. Like get your young guys some reps too. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Injuries happen. Guys have to step up. Like I like that. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Other big news about Penn State before we move on. They're moving from Nike to Adidas. Not particularly thrilled about that choice. Not a big Adidas and football guy. I love Adidas in soccer, the other football, but Adidas in American football, not a big fan.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to another big blowout game here. Montana State traveling to number 7 Oregon. This one about as expected. Oregon 59, Montana State 13. Not a lot to say. Oregon looked so much better. Dante Moore in his first game at Oregon, he looked good, and we'll see what they do in the future.
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we got number 8, Alabama, traveling to Florida State
Here we
in
go.
an outcome I certainly did not see coming. Alabama was manhandled. Caleb DeBoer has a job on his hands this year because this is a tough loss to recover from unless Florida State just is a much better team than we all expect the rest of this year and remains
Yeah.
ranked for the majority of the season. Otherwise, Alabama is in a really tough spot. I thought they looked horrible, absolutely horrible. Ryan Williams didn't look great either, which just jumping back, now that I named probably the number 2 wide receiver in college, we'll talk about the number 1 super quick, Jeremiah Smith. He did not look good
Quiet.
in that
Yeah.
game against Texas. He had like 3 drops. There was one throw that Julian Sam maybe should have thrown it to him on. It's one-on-one, your best receiver. So but he wasn't like open, like there was a little bit of space there. So I don't think he should have been as upset as he was that he didn't get the ball. But yeah, and after that he had like 3 drops. So he did
Yeah.
not look good in game 1. But jumping back to the Alabama game, just again, I mean, no part of Alabama looked good. Their defense didn't look good. Their offense didn't look good. Nothing looked good. And they end up losing this game 31-17.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, terrible. Really alarming. I really wonder how this Alabama team's going to finish. I mean, we even talked about it last year, just post Saban. How's it going to be? And it wasn't great last year either. And I think the downward trajectory continues here. That was really ugly. I mean, even just dive into the box score, look at touches, attempts, just how the offense was rolling. I mean, the Florida State quarterback threw the ball like 15 times. They just ran it all over Alabama. That should never happen. And it was vice versa. Bama did not run the ball. Their quarterback threw it like 49 times or something disgusting like that. Yeah, just uncharacteristic. They aren't Alabama right now. They just really
Yeah.
aren't. But that being said, Florida State did look really good. And yeah, I think it could kind of be a little bit of both. I think Florida State could be a much better team than we thought. And also, Bama is just not themselves.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Totally fair. I think we were just a little too high on Bama, maybe. And maybe a combination of a little bit low on FSU. I don't know if they should have started the year ranked per se, but I think a combination of the two. We'll see where Alabama goes from here, and we'll see where Florida State goes from here. I mean, it adds
Yeah,
some excitement to the game for sure.
it really does.
Um, let's move on. Northern Arizona traveling to number 11 Arizona State, a game that Arizona State won 38-19. Nothing too exciting. I was a little bit surprised how close this one ended. Honestly, only
Yeah,
19 points there. But, I mean, Arizona State did the job and they won the game.
yeah, yeah. I was surprised as well. Really, just with the defense giving up 19 to Northern Arizona. I'm sure coach isn't too happy about that, but yeah, offense did well. But yeah, certainly not the outcome I would have expected. I would have thought it'd be more lopsided for sure.
Yeah. Moving on to a trash Big Ten team here, New Mexico traveling to number 14, Michigan. Um, we all know my distaste for Michigan. Michigan wins this one 34-17, but I left encouraged as a Penn State fan watching this game. I watched the majority of this game, and I don't think that Michigan looked great, honestly, at all. I do not think that they looked very good. I think Bryce Underwood looked decent. I think he's still got a lot to prove, but he's still very clearly young.
Yes.
But main takeaway for me, I wasn't overly impressed by Michigan in this game.
Yeah. I mean, you said it, young. Michigan is a team that I think is going to be a lot better as the season goes on. But early on, getting a team like New Mexico and doubling them up, I'd say that's a win. Probably about what I expected. I didn't expect a ridiculous blowout this early in. Bunch of young players on Michigan, so you know how that goes.
Gosh, hate that you just rationalized that for them. Kills me. Kills me.
It's how I feel, man. I don't love it either.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Moving on to a big blowout here. I talked about it last week. I couldn't believe that Long Island was even on Florida's schedule, but Long Island
Yeah.
traveled to number 15 Florida, ended up losing 55-0,
Yeah.
get
We
shut
got a
out.
shutout.
So I really have no notes here other than Long Island was extremely overmatched, and Florida looked decent in a game that they should have dominated.
Yeah. Yeah. Shocked this was the only shutout, but yeah, Florida obviously should win this game. They should blow them out. But all that being said, I think Florida's kind of on the right path here. A team that has sucked for a while that I was very happy with them sucking for a while. And yeah, it's getting scary. And LSU gets them early this year, so we'll
I was
see.
gonna ask, is Florida on LSU's schedule
Yeah.
this year?
I believe
So
it's week 3, maybe
okay.
4, but it's early.
Ooh, that could be exciting.
Or not.
Let's yeah, let's go to Eastern Texas A&M traveling to number 16 SMU. SMU pulls this out 42-13. SMU should win this. Not overly surprised here. I don't really have any additional notes. SMU did
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah.
Now we move on to kind of an interesting one here. North Dakota traveling to number 17, Kansas
Yeah.
State. Kansas State already dropping week 1 to Iowa State. And my goodness, were they close to dropping this game against North Dakota. They end up pulling it out 38-35. But whew, I think Kansas State has cause for concern. I think they may be a very mid football team this year. I do not think, with how they've looked these first 2 weeks, they have any chance of challenging for anything, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I'd agree. And honestly, it makes me go back to week 0 and I begin to wonder how good Iowa State is. Because,
Yep.
that was a close game too, and they did come out on top. But yeah, this Kansas State team does not look right.
I agree. I agree. Now let's go to Illinois State, taking on number 18 Oklahoma. Oklahoma wins this 35-3. I thought Oklahoma, while a game that they should definitely win, looked a lot better than what they did for the majority of last year. They looked more put together. I think they've got a chance to win some games this year. I don't know that they'll be back to being a dominant force in college football quite this year, but I think they're going to be significantly better.
Yeah. Yeah, last week I mentioned Oklahoma being a little high for my liking, and just given last year, didn't really figure anything out. But yeah, I do think there'll be improvements this year, but I certainly think they're a ways away from being the powerhouse that they once were.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Then we'll go to University of Texas San Antonio, traveling to Texas A&M at Kyle Field. 42-24 final score in favor of Texas A&M, and I thought that Texas A&M looked very underwhelming in this game. I think their defense did not look that great. I mean, the offense put up 42 points, so that's fine, but it's against University of Texas San Antonio. But they still let up 24 points to this team, and this was a game for a long time, a
Yeah.
long, long time. This looked like it could be a back and forth game. Texas A&M eventually takes control and shows the dominance that they should have over this team for all 4 quarters. But for a while, it was close, and I think that came down to Texas A&M's defense. I was very unimpressed by what I saw.
Yeah. Very good point. I think to your point, it went to like the fourth quarter. This thing was like a one possession game. So
Mhm.
yeah, it really surprising. Um, I think A&M will figure it out and they'll be okay. But yeah, definitely alarming. But always good to see the big dog, put down the little dog when it's all said and done and when it really matters come crunch time. But yeah, definitely a lot to learn from that game for them.
100%. 100%. Getting close here. A few more to go. We got Old Dominion traveling to number 20, Indiana. Indiana wins this 27-14. And despite the result, I think this is cause for concern for Indiana. I think this is a game that they should have had in hand way earlier. I think they definitely should have put up more points. And I think this is just as a sign. I think maybe, at least maybe I said this last week on the pod, but I do not think Indiana is going to have as successful of a season this year as they did last year. And I think this first game really sets the stage for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we both said it, and I think we're both right. Because yeah, that's not a pretty win, right there, but yeah, again, early, week 1, a lot of things to learn, and, they could bounce back, but yeah, I certainly don't see them reaching where they were at last year.
Yeah. Now let's move to a more dominant showing here. Georgia State traveling to 21 Ole Miss. Ole Miss winning this 63-7. And I thought Ole Miss was going to win this game, obviously. They looked really, really good in this game. I really wasn't sure what to expect, losing Jackson Dart. But I was pretty impressed. I think Ole Miss could be a power still in the SEC this
Oh,
year.
definitely. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. 21 is, like, disrespectful for this Ole Miss team, like, what are we doing? Um, and I say that, but, preseason rankings, they're damn near impossible to do, man. Like, all these bodies moving around, especially with the transfers nowadays. But,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous, 21. But, yeah, you can't read too much into this. The Georgia State team isn't really, their top goal this year. Ole Miss wants to certainly do some more damage than that, but, yeah, 63-7, you that's pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad. Moving on to the other Dakota game, South Dakota traveling to number 22, Iowa State. Iowa State pulls this one out 55-7. To your point earlier, I'm not sure. Does this mean that South Dakota is that much better than North Dakota? Is Iowa State actually that much better than Kansas State? Who knows? But Iowa State looked dominant in this game. No cause for concern from them here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a different story when comparing Kansas State to, Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State 2-0, all said and done, a big win at the time, week 0, and then, dominated in a game they should. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely feeling good, feeling cocky. Kansas State, on the other hand, probably not. So, but yeah, good point. Don't really know how to read into this and not sure how good they are.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Moving on, Arkansas Pine Bluff traveling to number 23, Texas Tech. The highest scoring top 25 team in week 1 here was Texas Tech, putting up 67 points to Arkansas Pine Bluff's 7. It was just a really dominant showing from them all around. Um, and I think they just need to have a game against tougher competition to really, really figure it out.
Yeah, it's kinda cool. I always kinda like Texas Tech. Nice to see them in the rankings and, yeah, certainly not gonna fall out after a performance like that.
Yep. I got 3 more to go here. Syracuse traveling to number 24, Tennessee. Tennessee winning this one 45-26. You mentioned it earlier. Much more exciting than that Texas Ohio State game. Also wish I
Yes, yeah.
watched this. But Syracuse isn't a great team, and they lost Kyle McCord, but they're not like a rollover team like many of these other teams we've mentioned previously. So I think this is a fairly good win for Tennessee here. Maybe allowed more points than they would have liked to and probably should have to Syracuse, but the offense looked good, which I think was their main concern after they
Yes.
lost Nico this year to UCLA. So I think they're overall happy with this result.
Yeah, well said. Another team similar to Ole Miss where 24 is just ridiculous to me, but like we said last week, that's because of the Nico departure. Nico did not look good in week 1. But yeah, here we have Tennessee looking really good with their new QB. But yeah, you said it. Syracuse, not a joke of a team, but yeah, Tennessee's probably not too pleased with their defense allowing that many points. But yeah, all said and done, definitely a better game than Texas Ohio State.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Um, Moving on, the last ranked matchup of the week between two ranked teams. We had number 6 Notre Dame traveling to number 10 Miami, and Miami pulls this one out, as you and I both correctly predicted here. I think
Yeah.
that um, Carson Beck looked pretty decent in a Miami uniform. He didn't really do anything terrible. I think that Notre Dame's run game wasn't great when I expected that to be better. I think that CJ Carr, their new quarterback, taken over for Riley Leonard, I thought that he looked pretty decent, actually. I was pretty
Yeah.
impressed by what he showed. So I think Notre Dame will still be decent, but I am so thrilled that they lost this game. Because for them, all games matter. There is no conference or not because they're little babies that won't join one. So when it comes to rankings, all games matter. So I love seeing that one in the L column for them here.
Yeah. Yeah, so true and good point. I was surprised too with the quarterback play from Notre Dame. Wasn't expecting that much of a seamless transition. I will say, and I think I said it last year too, really impressed with Notre Dame's head coach. He's really good and he's really young, and that upsets me. But that being said, Miami looked good. I mentioned it earlier. These quarterback vets looked pretty good. The guys that have a lot of miles on them, they look good in their new system in Beck's case. And yeah, I mean, I don't think he's Cam Ward, but I think he'll get the job done, and it'll be another good team in the ACC. So that'll make that a little more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And we had Virginia Tech last game here traveling to number 13 South Carolina. And I thought this game was close for a while. This was
It
a lot
was.
closer than I expected to be. Spread wasn't too big, but I thought it was going to be a heavy cover from South Carolina, but Virginia Tech put up a pretty solid fight here having to travel to South Carolina. So I think my main takeaway is I'm not that impressed by South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned last week that I thought the spread was bogus, and you're right. For a while, I was a little scared. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be wrong on this one," because Virginia Tech was hanging. But yeah, all said and done, they did cover the 7.5, I believe it was. Um, but yeah, honestly, I'm taking it the other way. I think Virginia Tech is definitely better than I thought. I will say I think South Carolina is still going to be a good football team, but I think Virginia Tech, yeah, is much better than I thought. I thought they were not so good.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, that wraps up our week 1 of college football recap, which means we get to move on and make our predictions for week 2. Actually, I just remembered before we get to that, there's one other thing I'd like to add, and that's just big storyline in college football. Bill Belichick taking over the University of North Carolina,
Yes.
and oh my, did Bill get welcomed to college football a way that I just loved. They allowed 48 unanswered points to TCU and got absolutely trounced. Welcome to NCAA football, Bill Belichick. Welcome.
Yeah, he was definitely sweating in that hoodie.
Yes, he was. Before we move on to the other teams, there's 2 teams that we're not going to be talking about anymore because they dropped out of the top 25. That will be Boise State, who was previously 25, and Kansas State, who was previously 17. Boise State, obvious. Their 25th spot, get trounced by University of South Florida. Like, come on. Kansas State loses to 22 Iowa State, which maybe wasn't enough to damn them out of the top 25, but then only beating a North Dakota team by 3 points. Yeah, that was the nail in the coffin for them. Um,
Yeah.
then we got FSU, who gets added to the top 25, taking the number 14 spot for their trouncing of Alabama. Deserved. And then Utah sliding into the top 25 at spot 25 with their beatdown of UCLA. So, with that, let's move on and pick our games for this week. First one up, we have FIU traveling to number 2 PSU in Happy Valley. Easy one for me, Penn State, no doubt about it. They're going to dominate just like they did last week.
Yeah. Another good preseason game for Penn State. This one should not be a problem. I'm going that way as well.
Up next, we got San Jose State traveling to number 7 Texas, and I feel bad for San Jose State. Texas was already going to win this game, but I think they're going to feel like they have something to prove and absolutely trounce them at home.
Yeah, I agree. I mentioned in the recap we were just doing, let the backups in, let them get their feet wet. I don't see Texas doing that. They're gonna let Arch go for as many yards as he can and as many touchdowns as he can, and get that confidence back up because that was certainly lacking against Ohio State.
I agree. Then we got number 11 Illinois traveling to Duke. Duke not the worst team in football anymore, but still not great. I got 11 Illinois taking this one.
Yeah, this one was tough for me. I was really close to pulling the trigger on Duke, mostly because they're home. We're bringing it back, baby. Home teams, baby. I love that shit. But yeah,
You
I stuck
do.
with Illinois here. But yeah, you said it. Duke, certainly not just a basketball school anymore, a decent football program.
Then we got Eastern Texas A&M traveling to number 14 Florida State, newly into the top 25 as mentioned, and I think Florida State continues their winning ways here against a team they should beat 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking Florida State too. Yeah, I mean, before we move on though, I am curious on your thoughts. We mentioned Bama probably not being the Bama of old and Florida State, looking good, but how good are they? Do you think that jump was a bit much? Because I personally do. They certainly should be
I
ranked
do
after that
think I think all the
performance.
way to 14 was a bit much.
Yeah, I feel like 17, 18, somewhere in there. Still a big
I
jump, but I think that would be a little more fair.
Yeah, but I feel like I think the committee was stuck a little bit having Alabama still in the top 25 with how Florida State dominated. That Florida State needed some distance between them and Alabama in the rankings, I think, and I think that's what ended up putting them at 14 here, especially so early in the year. It's still finicky with these
Yeah,
rankings.
that's true. You climb higher and you
Yeah,
fall lower this early in the season.
yeah. Now we got Iowa traveling to 16 Iowa State, and I actually have Iowa with the upset here against Iowa State.
All right. Yeah, see, we mentioned we weren't too sure how Iowa State was going to be. I was close to picking Iowa as well, but I did a little digging because I did not watch Iowa's week 1 game. They had 44 passing yards. Like, I know Iowa is a running team, a good defensive team. 44 passing yards. Give me Iowa State.
Fair enough, fair enough. Then we got Baylor traveling to number 17 SMU. And Baylor didn't look great in their week 1 loss to Auburn, that's for sure. But I still believe in them in the long term this year. So I got Baylor beating SMU.
Yeah, solid pick. I was close to going this way as well. I think a lot of last week was Auburn just kind of getting back on track. An SEC school that is typically pretty good. We've seen all the Alabama upsets over the years and all the exciting plays when Cam went there and all that. But yeah, they struggled the last few years. I think they might be righting the ship. So I do agree. Don't quit on Baylor just yet. But that being said, I'm going with SMU because they're home. But to me, this one really is a toss up.
Home teams, man. You're big on
I
them.
care about it. I
Uh,
care when it's
then we got Kennesaw
50-50, I'm going
State.
that way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Then we got Kennesaw State traveling to 23 Indiana. Indiana dropping a couple spots in the rankings based on their close game with Old Dominion and other teams looking more deserving. But I got Indiana taking this one. I mean, it's Kennesaw State.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, could be a similar game to last week where Indiana wins this thing, but not the way they want to.
Yep. Yep. Then we got Max School, Kent State traveling to number 24, Texas Tech. Texas Tech looked like one of the most dominant teams. I actually can't believe that they fell back a spot here,
Yeah, for
putting up
real.
67 points last week and to drop to 24. I mean, what more can you do? But I think Texas Tech wins this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I thought the same thing writing this shit down. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense to punish this team, but yeah, they should be fine this week. I'm going that way too.
Up next, we got Utah State traveling to number 19, Texas A&M. See, that's just something that doesn't make sense to me here. Texas A&M struggled against UTSA for much of the game and stays at
Mhm.
19. I don't understand. I don't understand. But anyways, I still got Texas A&M beating Utah State here.
Yeah, I do as well. And another great point. I can't justify this committee. I really can't. Not that you're asking me to, but I can't.
Up next, we got Grambling traveling to number 1 Ohio State. Ohio State taking the number 1 spot, jumping Penn State and Texas. To be expected. I can't be too upset about that. Them playing Texas, us just beating Nevada, as would expect. Not like a total shellacking, like 77-0 or something like that. So I'm okay with Ohio State being 1 for now. Allows them to be pulled down later in the season. But poor Grambling. That's all I've got to say about this one.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I do not have a problem at all with Ohio State being number one. It's certainly not surprising after beating the number one when you're already number three. I'd argue they probably should have started this year as number one. I mean, you look back the past handful of years, they've been the best team, as much as I hate to say it. And yeah, they lost a lot of talent, but it doesn't matter when you're Ohio State. It really doesn't. I wish it did. I really do, but it does not matter. But yeah, they're where they should be, in my opinion. But as you said, that leaves the door open for upsets and a major fallback.
Hell yeah. Then we got Austin P traveling to number 4 Georgia, and I think Georgia's going to win this one pretty handily as well.
Yeah, Georgia, I feel like the last handful of years have had tough opponents week one. That was not the case last week, and here they have another layup game. This one's going to be ugly.
Yeah. Oklahoma State traveling to number 6 Oregon. Oklahoma State hasn't looked the same as they used to be pretty decent, but they haven't looked the same in a while. And Oregon's just a really good football team, so I got Oregon taking this one pretty easily as well.
Yeah, I think Oregon will take care of them, no problem. But yeah, I honestly miss those days. I didn't mind Oklahoma State, and yeah, growing up, they were always a solid team. But yeah, last handful of years, not so much. So until they show otherwise, I'm certainly not picking them to beat Oregon in Oregon.
Troy traveling to number 8 Clemson. I feel bad for Troy here. This is going to be similar to Texas, a bit of a prove it game for Clemson to just really shellac somebody, and unfortunately for Troy, it's going to be them.
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely going to get out some frustrations. This one's going to get gross.
Yeah, and then we got an SEC matchup in number 20 Ole Miss taking on Kentucky here. And Kentucky hasn't been great in a while. They were decent in their Will Levis year, but outside of that, there hasn't been too much excitement around that football program for a long time. And I got 20 Ole Miss here.
Yeah, I also have Ole Miss. Wild to see this SEC matchup so early. But yeah, in a way, still a preseason game for Ole Miss.
Yeah. Then we got ETSU traveling to 22 Tennessee. I think Tennessee wins in a blowout here.
Yeah, no doubt, Tennessee all the way here.
Then we got a matchup of 2 Florida teams, one that might be a little bit better than we thought. University of South Florida traveling to number 13 Florida. And I think we'll really see what USF is made of here. I think Florida is going to win this game regardless. But we'll see what kind of juice USF might have the rest of this year.
Yeah. I agree. This is gonna be a fun game. I'm looking forward to tuning in here. I think South Florida could keep this thing close, but yeah, definitely go in Florida in the end. But hopefully they beat them up, so Florida's all not ready to play LSU.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Then we got Cal Poly traveling to number 25 Utah. I got Utah here. I think Utah is an underrated football team, has been for a few years,
Yeah.
and I think they win this one.
Well said. Utah is, I mean, I feel like they're forever underrated, and I don't understand. They are a very good team, and they always seem to be. This is not going to be a problem for them at all.
Then we got Bethune traveling to number 5 Miami, and well, poor them.
Yeah.
Miami's going to win this
Ooh!
one by a mile. Yeah. This was one I've seen a lot of these other schools before. This is not one of them. So this is a new
Yeah.
one for me.
Yeah, poor them. Miami is, yeah, they're gonna take care of business.
Then we got SC State traveling to number 10 South Carolina. I think South Carolina looks a little bit better this week than they did last week, and I think they win this one at home as well.
Yeah, South Carolina should win this, and I'm certainly going that way.
Then we got Louisiana Tech taking on number 3 LSU, LSU's first home game, and I think LSU dominates here.
Yeah, LSU in the true Death Valley. Yeah, they're not gonna have a problem here. Shout out LSU, freaking 3 seed. Let's freaking go.
Behind Penn State. Just want to make sure
That
that's thrown out there into the ether.
that's fine. We have a major victory until you win a big game. I don't want to hear shit.
I wouldn't be afraid to play LSU right now, though. There's one team I'm afraid to play, and that's Ohio State. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. And it may prove
Yeah.
fatal on November 1st, but that's it. But let's go number 12 Arizona State traveling to Mississippi State. I got Arizona State here.
Okay. I went Mississippi State here, which I think is a bit wild. I will say Mississippi State, a team that really hasn't been very good in a decent chunk of time here. But that being said, I think Arizona State is incredibly overhyped sitting at the 12 seed. Um, I think they're gonna fall. I may be a little too early in my prediction of when they fall, but I'm taking a shot here. I'm going Mississippi State.
Fair, fair. Up next, we got a ranked matchup. Number 15, Michigan traveling to number 18, Oklahoma. As much as I just shit on them for their last week performance against New Mexico, I think Michigan's going to win this game.
Yeah. It's funny we talk about the Arizona State game right before this because, as I said last week and already earlier this episode, I think Oklahoma's in the same boat. I don't think they're the 18th best team. I think they're lucky to be ranked. I just don't think they're quite there yet. So I have Michigan as well. I think they're going to handle this.
Oh, home team advantage not enough for you in this one?
No. Predicting the fall of some teams, man. I don't see it.
Fair enough. Then we got for the last game this week, UL Monroe traveling to 21 Alabama. Unfortunately for Monroe, I think Alabama just dominates this game. A bounce back week for them.
Yeah, Bama should definitely not have a problem here. I definitely have them winning. I am curious if they dominate though, because I don't. Left is right, up is down, dude. I don't freaking know what the deal is with this team.
That's fair. That's a fair take. But yeah, that's our top 25 matchup for this week. We're really looking forward to them. Not as quite as many ranked matchups between two ranked teams this week. We only got one of those in Michigan and Oklahoma. that'll be an exciting game, or at least I hope so. But yeah, with that, that wraps up our second edition of College Only Palm City Chucks here in year 2. We appreciate you all for joining, listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think, and definitely comment on that LSU catch non-catch. I stand on the opposite side of Chris,
Please,
and I think most of the world
please.
with that one. But I maintain my position. I think no catch.
That's crazy. Next time we're together, like we're gonna sit down together and we're going to watch that play. And I'm gonna read vital
Okay.
signs. I'm gonna figure out if you're full of shit and lying or not, because this is absurd to me. I'm getting vitals.
I know. I mean, you texted me right after, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, do you
So
believe that
we'll
shit?
see.
I
We'll
thought you were
see.
gonna be like, yeah, what the hell, man? I'm pissed for you or something. But no. Instead, now you're on my shit list, buddy.
That's right where I want to be. Right where I want to be. All right. See you, everybody. Talk next week.
Later, PCC.